Okay, in this second video on simultaneous equations, I'm going to show you the elimination method. As the name suggests, rather eliminate x or y and find either x or y and substitute it back in to find the other value. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you eliminate. We look at it and we use a bit of common sense and say what's the best things to eliminate and how to go about it. You have to know about integer work. I think adding and subtracting integers is really quite important in this method. So let us look at a past paper question on this. So we've got 3x minus 2y is equal to 11. That's one of the equations. And 2x plus 5y is equal to 1. And the question essentially says solve algebraically for x and y. Now, the way it's set up just now is the way we tend to use the elimination. X and y is on one side and just numerical values on the right hand side. And what do we eliminate? What do we get rid of? Well, we can get rid of x or y. Doesn't matter which one we get rid of. And we just have to look at it and see what's the base to get rid of. Now, just as a wee reminder, in case you've not watched the first video, simultaneous equations, it's all about straight lines and where they cross over. This is what we're trying to find. We're trying to find a point where they cross over. That's in essence what solving simultaneous equations is. Now, in the exam, it's really important that you're methodical and you're showing the examiner what you're actually doing, so there's got to be a logical approach to it. You can't just have numbers all over the place. So this technique, please try and follow it word for word, okay? So I'm going to name this equation A and equation B. So what do we get rid of? Well, we can either get rid of x and y. So I could multiply this by 3, all of this by 3, using our algebra skills, and I could multiply all this by 2, and that would give me 6 and 6 here. And if we subtract them, they would disappear, and then we'd have some values here that we'd have to subtract. But we might get a negative, and adding and subtracting negatives can be a wee bit tricky. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to multiply this 1 by 5 and this one by 2, and then we'll add these equations together. So this is how it goes about. I'm going to multiply equation A by 5 and equation B by 2. So this gives me 15x minus 10y is equal to 55. I'm going to call that equation C now. And the second equation, or equation B, I'm going to apply by 2, so that's going to give me 4x plus 10y is equal to 2. I call that equation D. And now, if we look at it, if I add these two together, negative 10y plus 10y, that gives me 0, it cancels out. That's why we multiply by 5 here and 2 here, so we could eliminate y. So all we have to do now is we're going to say C plus D. So if we add these together, we get 19x, that's 0, is equal to 57. And we can easily solve that now. If we divide both sides by 19, then x is equal to 3. That's us found the x coordinate, or the x value. So how do we find the y value? Well, we just pick one of these and we substitute x in and we solve it. Now, I'm going to substitute it into b, this value, into this equation here, because if I put it in here, I've got a negative here and it can get a wee bit messy. So keep it nice and simple. I'm going to substitute it into b. So sub x equal to 3 into equation B. Okay. We could substitute it into that, or that. Doesn't matter. I'm just using b this time. So 2x plus 5y is equal to 1. So, but x is 3, so 2 3s are 6, so that's 6 plus 5y is equal to 1. Going to subtract 6 from both sides, so I'm left with 5y then is equal to minus 5. 1 take away 6 is minus 5, and divide through by 5. So I'm left with y is equal to minus 1. Solved. So the point that solves both of these lines at the same time, the point is 3 minus 1. Remember, that's my x value and that's my y value. And that's all there is to it. Okay, that's worth about 4 marks in the exam. Because it's not in a context, because it's just pure maths, then it's worth a wee bit less. In the next video, we'll do 1 or 2 in a context, and we'll see that you get 6 marks for those type. But we're using this elimination method, so we're using that method to solve the trickier ones. Okay, I'm going to do another example, do one more, and this time 2x minus 5y is equal to 24, and the second equation, 7x plus 8y is equal to 33. The number's a wee bit bigger this time. Okay, so we're using the elimination, so we want to eliminate either this or this. Now, in the last example, I eliminated y. So I think this time I'll eliminate x, just to show you it doesn't matter which one you eliminate. And remember what we're trying to find? These are 2 lines. These are 2 lines, and we want to find out with the crossover. Okay. So call this equation A, equation B. Right, what do we have to do then? Well, if we look at the 2 and the 7, if I multiply this by 7 all the way through, get quite big numbers, and I multiply this by 2 on here, then I'll be able to eliminate these. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by 7 and the second equation by 2. And that will give me 14x then minus 35y is equal to 7 times 24, so 7 4s are 28, carry 2, 168. So really quite big numbers here, so sometimes you can get the big numbers, you've got to be careful. If you're lucky, this might be a calculator question and you could use a calculator, but we don't really know that. So 2 7s are 14, so that's 14x, 2 8s are 16, so that's 16y, and 2 times 33 is 66, so that's quite easy, and that's D. Okay, the next bit then. Well, if we subtract these, then we can eliminate them. Now, that means we're going to take C and subtract D. So if we do that, 14 take away 14, that's 0 obviously, minus 35 minus another 16y, well that's going to give me, that's 11 and 1, 51 y, so it's going to be a negative 51y is equal to, and I've got to subtract these, well that'll be 102. And then we just divide through by minus 51. Minus 51 on this side. So y is equal to minus 2. Okay. So you can see the numbers can get a wee bit tricky in these, but you've got to be able to deal with them. So how do we find the x then? Well, we just substitute back in. But one do we pick? Anyone we like. So I'm going to put y into the first equation because we're looking for x and it's only 2x there, so that's a wee bit easier. So sub y equal to minus 2 into equation A. So equation A is 2x minus 5y is equal to 24. So we know y is minus 2, so we'll have 2x then. Minus 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10, is equal to 24. Subtract 10 from both sides. So we're left with 2x then is equal to 14. So divide through by 2. X is equal to 7. So the point 7 minus 2 solves these both equations at the same time. So that's where they cross over. So the point up here is 7 minus 2. Okay. So that's your two examples. I'm not going to do any more because they're all done exactly the same way. So if you get stuck or anything like that, just rewind the video and have another wee look at the video and what to do. Okay. I'll post this online